Hi everyone. Okay, so let's give Sage a try for doing bank reconciliations. Remember though, before you get started, read the story about Tess's Tresses so that you know what's going on. You know all the information, you know what they're doing or how they've done it and how things have been set up. Okay, so what they've done is starting in January, this session date is January 31st, but in January, say they started using Sage and they decided that instead of doing their bank reconciliations manually, they were going to give it a try doing it electronically in Sage and see how it goes. Okay, so again, the month has already gone by. And as I mentioned in the previous video, they have already created 52 journal entries. So let's go have a look and see what kind of journal entries are in there already. As always, I've got corrections clicked, got the right dates. Okay. So on January 2nd, they had a check from Irma, and it went into the account called undeposited cash and checks. So instead of going into, say, 1060, which is the actual bank account, they've deposited into an account called undeposited cash and checks, okay? And then, of course, their sales discount that they gave their customer and clearing out accounts receivable. The same thing has happened with Twilight Theater. The same thing has happened for students. It's all going into undeposited cash and checks. When they receive money or cash or credit cards from a customer, they're putting it into the account undeposited. And that is because it's physically still sitting at their work site, okay? So what we have to do now is, I'm going to close this out. If you look on page 582, we're going to look at creating a deposit slip. And that's creating the slip that will actually go to the bank with the money and with the checks so that it can be deposited into our actual bank account. So we want the icon make deposit. Okay. So we want to make the deposit as of January 7th, but we want first to set it up to go into, we want it to go into the actual bank account, okay? So that's where we want the money to go. It's deposit slip 1, as you can see here. The date, we want to change it to the 7th, because say we've already physically done this, but we haven't done it in Sage yet, okay? So maybe we actually did print up deposit slips and deposit it into our actual bank account, but for the paperwork itself, we haven't done it yet. So we want to date it the same as what it was actually dated. So we've got January 7th. And now it's telling us that I'm not going to follow the book exactly, so please, when you're going through to do it, make sure that you actually do every step, okay? So once you get used to doing these deposit slips, you'll be able to get through them quicker. So we want to make a deposit into our actual checking account, okay? Deposit slip 1, and the date is January 7th. And our comment is bank deposit. So now we've got two sections. We've got a section where we show our checks, and we've got a section where we show actual physical cash that we've been given. So we're going to click here, select. Okay. So if you remember back when we were looking at the journal entries, we saw a bunch of checks going into the undeposited cash and checks. So we want to see what's in the undeposited cash and checks, and not January 31st. We want to see anything that has been put into undeposited cash and checks since January 1st, but still outstanding. Okay, so we know that January 2nd, we've got Irma, we've got Twilight Theater. If you hold down the shift button, you can highlight a bunch of them together. If you hold down the control button, you can skip one and highlight a different one. But let's see what we can do here. We've got Twilight Theater, we've got Student, we've got Ada, we've got On Stage, and we've got Irma. Okay, so remember, today's deposit is dated January 7th, so we can't put any in there past that date because the bank won't deposit them because it's what they call post-dated. Okay, so we want these ones that we've highlighted, we want it to add it to the deposit slip. So add, and then okay. And now as you can see, it's been added. So now we want to go over here because we have a bunch of cash, as you saw on the deposit slip in your book on page 582. It's listed the checks, and let's have a look. For the checks, the total on the deposit slip in the book says $1748.85, and here it says $1748.85. So that's good. So now let's go into the actual money. And again, we want it from the undeposited cash and checks. And we want Canadian. And now here we want to put the count in. So it shows us, it says consisting of 5 fives. So we want 5. And then we've got 15 tens. We've got 30 20s. We've got 13 50s. We've got 12 100s. And for coins, we've got 160. So now it's telling us that with the coins, we have a total of 26, 26, 60. And that's exactly what our textbook tells us. So we want to add to deposit slip. Okay, okay. So now we can see here our total for the deposit is $43.75.45. And you can see in your textbook it says $43.75.45. We can also have a look at our journal entry, and you can see where it's putting all the individual ones into the actual checking account and taking it out of the undeposited cash and checks account. So that looks correct. We can close this and we can post. Okay, so hopefully that has helped with understanding how to do the actual deposits. I will create a video so that you can see how to do the reconciliations next. Thanks, everyone.